All right, thanks so much, Kristen. We began with overnight news this morning. Police are investigating a shooting 2 blocks away from a Northwest Albuquerque gas station. That's at 2nd and Candelaria. Police are not saying much at this time, but what we do know is that one man was shot and taken to the hospital. Police on scene tell us the man is expected to survive. They're still looking for a suspect, though. No word on if police have any leads at this time. We'll be following this story throughout the morning. You can see updates also on our KRQE News app.
A Rio Rancho student is now charged for using pepper spray on a school bus with a dozen kids on board.
We all started coughing, and I thought it was just like we had a dry throat, and then the bus driver started coughing. And
makes your throat completely dry, and then you just can't breathe and you start coughing and you don't really know why.
Those students and the bus driver were all feeling the effects of pepper spray. Police say the 17-year-old was spraying it on the bus and students had to be taken off while paramedics and police responded. Everybody said to be doing okay. That teenager is now charged with disorderly conduct and tampering with evidence. And by the way, police tell us the teen told them that he had used the pepper spray on the bus about 3 weeks earlier as well. Another pair of Rio Rancho students are facing charges accused of pouring a dangerous substance into their classmates' drinks. Police say 2 Eagle Ridge Middle School students had to be rushed to the hospital after those drinks were tampered with in chemistry class. No word on what exactly was in the drinks, but the 2 students are accused now of battery charges. The ones that are accused of doing it are facing those charges.
We turn now to this. The Roswell Planetarium is closed this morning until the city can replace an employee under investigation. He's accused of having an inappropriate relationship with an underage girl. Details of the alleged relationship are not being released, but the district says the man teaches astronomy classes at the planetarium to students from Goddard and Roswell High.
The city and the school district have a contractual arrangement under which the school can use the planetarium for some of its classes that were taught by this particular person.
So the man's name is not being released just yet because he has not been charged.
New Mexico State Police say they now have persons of interest in the vandalism of a family crypt. Following up for you, early Monday morning, someone took a rock and threw it into the Adello family's crypt at St. Anthony Church in Pecos. George Adello's grandparents, Samuel and Lourdes, rest in the crypt, and he is outraged that someone would deface it. He's now offering a $1,000 reward to catch those vandals. You ever notice those tall cameras at the intersections on Alameda? They've been around for a couple of years now, but you might not know the full story behind them.
Yeah, the cameras are part of what's called an adaptive signaling system, and they're gaining traction. News 13's Catherine Mazzone is live at Alameda and 4th Street in Northwest Albuquerque with what she's learned. Good morning, Catherine.
Good morning, Crystal. I want to show you something. Take a look at these cameras. Now, these tall cameras are different. They look farther back into the intersection than typical sensing cameras, and for good reason. They're actually monitoring the number of cars that come through the intersection in real time, and you can find them all the way from 2nd and Alameda to Loretta.
It's adjusting on the fly without any human input.
Leo County Operations and Maintenance Director David Mitchell showed us exactly how this complex system works. Now, those blue blocks in the lanes measure how many cars are stacking up at an intersection. When the block gets to a certain size, the light changes. Now, while Mitchell can tap into the cameras at any time, he doesn't have to. That's because the signals operate all on their own. So what happens when a pedestrian pushes the walk button or an emergency vehicle makes the light change? Well, Mitchell says the old system would take a while to react, but now he says they just rewrite the signal timing plan. That means you could wait 10 seconds for the light one time and then a minute and a half the next. Now, Mitchell says drivers on the side streets see the real savings. So roads off of Alameda like Rio Grande, 2nd and 4th all see shorter wait times since this new system has been implemented. Back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Catherine. Now, the adaptive system has been deemed such a success. You can expect to see it more or in more corridors around the city. We'll tell you where coming up in our next half hour.
On to new developments in the proposal for gender-neutral bathrooms in Santa Fe. The City Council's Finance Committee passed that proposal on Monday night. Mayor Javier Gonzalez said in his State of the City that he wanted single-stall restrooms in the city to be open to anyone. The toilet would be for men, women, and transgendered individuals. It is expected to be considered, this proposal, by the full council next month.
We turn now to this. Emergency crews are now working to clean up thousands of gallons of oil that spilled in the Pacific coast. The spill happened yesterday after a pipeline owned by Plains All-American Pipeline broke in Southern California. It's estimated that at least 21,000 gallons of oil spilled into the ocean. Officials say they discovered the spill after people began calling 911 to report a strong gas smell. It took crews several hours to stop the leak, but it has been contained.
New facts this morning about what might have led to a shooting between rival bike gangs. Police in Waco say that shootout started over a parking spot. Someone allegedly ran over a gang member's foot, starting a fight that continued inside the restaurant. And that's where the shooting broke out. 9 people were eventually killed. 18 others were hurt. Police say they rounded up about 50 weapons. They're expecting to find even more as they analyze the crime scene.
They didn't expect to capture this, but a news crew in Ohio captured a road rage that got violent. 2 drivers got out of their cars and started punching each other. One of the men says it all began when he cut off the other driver. He says the other man became angry and pulled out a weapon. As you can see from the video, a handgun does fall out of one man's waistband when the 2 men fall to the ground there. It's not known what charges the 2 men are facing, if any, at this time.
This is being called the largest recall of any consumer product in U.S. history. Japanese company Takata is recalling nearly 34 million defective airbags. Those bags, which can open with so much force, shrapnel from them has actually killed 6 people in some cases. If you think that you could be affected, we have all the recall information on the KRQE app, including the cars affected. So you want to go there just to check it out. And again, this is said to be the largest recall in U.S. history.
Wow, that's pretty scary.
It is pretty scary. So you can check out whether your car's on the list. I did that this morning and find out whether or not you could be susceptible to something dangerous.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks so much, Kristen. This morning, an hours-long SWAT standoff is over after police say a woman shot at her neighbors. We first learned about this around 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon in southwest Albuquerque on 59th Street. That's near Coors and Central. While our crews were there, SWAT tried to get the woman out of her home. APD says there were also reports that she was threatening police.
There's been some information given to us by family members that she's asking people to come and shoot the police that are here. Clearly, we're on alert for that. We're aware of that, but we're not fretting about it.
So we made a call to APD this morning, but are still waiting to hear back. For now, no word if the woman had been arrested or charged. Her name has also not been released, but again, it does appear the SWAT situation is now over.
Bernalillo County deputies are investigating a school bus driver accused of punching a student. Desiree Pena's 9-year-old son, Juan Carlos, is a student at Mission Avenue Elementary in the North Valley. She says that bus driver admitted to hitting him while showing him some boxing moves on Monday.
Because it's not fair, because I want him to be safe when he gets home. I could hear my son crying and saying, "Mama, the bus driver just hit me twice in my mouth."
Pena says her son had marks around his face. The driver said he's just playing around. APS now says he is employed by Lucera Bus Company and was pulled off of that route yesterday. New this morning, we're staying on top of charges against a Mora County teacher. New Mexico State Police say Mandian Casados was having an inappropriate relationship with a 14-year-old student. Casados is a 25-year-old physical education teacher and a softball coach at Mora County Public School. She's resigned from those positions and is now charged with 1 count of contributing to the delinquency of a minor.
We turn on to this. This morning, a family is desperately asking for help finding a man who went missing while elk shed hunting. State police have been looking for 41-year-old Isaac Morfin, who wandered off from the Hopewell Lake area between Tierra Amarilla and Tres Piedras May 4th. Crews have searched by air and on foot. Still this morning, no sign of him. New details on memorial services for the once missing Brittany Johnson. We've learned her services are scheduled for tomorrow. The 24-year-old was missing nearly a week before Bernalillo County Sheriff's deputies found her body. That was at the bottom of a cliff south of the Sandia Crest parking lot. Investigators think her death was an accident and she fell. We're awaiting autopsy results. In lieu of flowers, her family is asking people to donate to the search and rescue teams who helped look for her. We have that information on our KRQE News app.
Nearly 5:34, developing this morning, sushi tainted with salmonella is now being reported in multiple other states. 5 New Mexicans reported getting sick from that sushi. And now the CDC is set to announce a 9-state salmonella outbreak that has sickened 44 people who ate minced or ground tuna used in the sushi. It's even hit Phoenix, where officials believe the contamination happened before the raw tuna reached restaurants.
A new and improved traffic signal system is turning heads in the transportation world, and it could make your drive a lot easier.
Bernalillo County installed what's called an adaptive signal system 2 years ago, and now they're looking to expand it, but they might not be the only ones implementing that system. News 13's Catherine Mazzone's been exploring all of this. She's live this morning at Alameda and 4th with the details. Catherine?
Good morning, Adam. Now, Bernalillo County, tell me, these cameras have actually cut down on wait times for people on side streets, but also for pedestrians. So we're going to try it out. I'm going to press this crosswalk button and see how long it takes for the light to change. Now, we were trying it out during the break, and it took about 3 seconds. But so far, it's been a few. Now, let me tell you, Bernalillo County says that it's been so successful that they've shared the system's engineering report with the state and regional council of governments. Now, this model could be used to expand. Check it out, the light just changed. Now, the tall cameras pointed at the intersections along Alameda between 2nd and Loretta are constantly counting traffic in real time. Once a certain number of cars stack up at a red light, the system adjusts and turns the light green. David Mitchell with Bernalillo County says the system is more effective than what they had before and ideal for keeping traffic moving.
The days of building more and more lanes to handle traffic are over, and now we have to come up with other means and technology to move more traffic through the same number of lanes.
Mitchell says the system also works better with emergency vehicles and, as we showed you, pedestrian crosswalks. Now they're working with the city to extend it across the river to 4 signals on the west side. And they're planning to install the system at Paseo, Tramway, and Rio Bravo. Now, Mitchell tells me the state is looking to install the system at Coors, and the Department of Transportation plans to install a competing product on US 550 to see how that one does compared to this system. Back to you.
All right, Catherine, thanks. Mitchell says money for the new corridors is coming from a federal grant. Police in Ohio say a group of kids held up 2 pizza delivery drivers with swords. On Sunday, police say a neighbor heard one of the teenagers yelling, "I'm a ninja," in the backyard. It turns out those swords were stolen from a woman who had bought them from a garage sale. A 13-year-old's been arrested and charged in connection with the robberies, and police are now looking for 2 more teens.
We turn now to this. A woman in Michigan is facing charges after her boyfriend was accused of waterboarding her 5-year-old, then abusing her 12-year-old with a knife. Shannon Jackson and her boyfriend Michael Porter are both facing felony charges this morning. Police say Porter tied up the 5-year-old boy, wrapped a pair of underwear around his head, leaned him over a stool, and repeatedly poured water on his face. They say he also prodded her 12-year-old son in the chest and throat with a knife in an incident that lasted a total of 3 hours. Jackson is not allowed to have any contact with her children at this time.